Hey guys, welcome to the 7th video in this Pandas Crash Course playlist, where I keep each video around 5 to 10 minutes long. So in this video, you're going to learn how to clean data in Pandas. With that being said, let's get right into it. In the previous video, we talked about updating rows using the lock method and the replace method. Now we're going to talk about one of the most important concepts in data science, which is data cleaning, because there are going to be many instances when we get messy real world data sets. And so it's just a matter of knowing how to handle all of these unnecessary or extra noise in our data. All right, so when we're dealing with a data set, there are many different kinds of problems that I can have with the quality. For example, we can have missing values, duplicate rows, inconsistent capitalization. These are just a few of the many problems that exist. And so whenever you want to clean a data frame, it's just a matter of identifying what you want to achieve in the end goal, in the end result, and then making the necessary adjustments so that your columns fit that end goal. And now we're going to import the pandas library. So I'm going to say import pandas as PD. And if you've been following this playlist for a while now, then you should know this step. It's just df is equal to pd.readcsv. And then we pass in the name of the CSV file, which is state crime stats. And if you want to use another data set because you found something more interesting, then go ahead and go with that. However, you can still follow along with the methods that I'll talk about. Okay, now that we have the data set up, let's explore the data even more and take a look if we have any missing values. And I'm going to show you how to do that with a really useful method. So the first one is called df.info, and this shows the columns that we have in our data set as well as the number of non-null values. All right, now let me do df.isNA, and it's going to show me whether these values are null or not. We can get a more detailed overview by saying df.isNA.sum, and this is going to show us the number of null values that we have for each column. And so most of them are 0 except for this one, which has 400. Okay, now we're going to learn how to handle missing values. And so these values appear whenever the information was either unavailable or not recorded for whatever reason. And in pandas, they're displayed as NaN. So we got two common ways to handle these missing values. First one is that we can completely remove them. And the second one is that we could replace those missing values. So there's no single best way to do this. It really all boils down to what your end goal is with the data set and what kind of questions you're trying to answer. Okay, so I'm going to create another copy of the data frame because as you can see in the previous output, there weren't that many columns that had missing values. So I'm going to insert these missing values. I'm going to say df.copy, and then I'm going to say cleaningdf.lock, and then I'm going to pass in these row labels. And these are just 5 random rows that I picked. And based on these row labels, we're going to go into the unemployment rate column, and then we're going to set this equal to pd.na. If I run that, then we're going to get an error because it says has no attribute na, and that's because it's a capital A. There we go. And so now if we want to count the missing values in this copy of the data frame, we can say cleaning df.isNA.sum. And this is going to show that we have 5 missing values in our unemployment rate. And in the rest of the cells, you're going to see how we handle these 5 missing values. Okay, so we're going to look at which columns have the missing values just to double check. So I'm going to say missing data is equal to, and then we're going to copy and paste this. And then we're going to say missing data, and square brackets will say missing data is greater than 0. And this is Boolean masking from lesson 4. Okay, and this is going to return the columns that have missing values in it. Okay, so based on this output, let's get the rows where we have these 5 missing values for this unemployment rate column. So to do that, we can use the lock method. So we say cleaningdf.lock, and then in the brackets, we say the cleaningdf, and then we specify the unemployment rate column, and then we say dot is NA. Remember that the first argument in the lock method handles with all the rows. And so this is going to return the 5 rows because we have 5 missing values in the unemployment rate column. So I hope that makes sense. I know that's a lot of information. So if you're feeling a little bit confused right now, then feel free to pause and drop a question in the comments below, and I'll get to it as soon as possible. All right, now let's remove every single row that contains a missing value. And so to do this, we say cleaningdf.dropNA, and this is going to drop all the rows that contain a missing value. However, this output doesn't really give us anything because there's too many rows to look at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have two print statements, and then I'm going to compare the length of the original data frame with the data frame after we removed the rows. So we can say original shape, and then I'm going to pass in the cleaningdf.shape. For the second print statement, I'm going to say new shape, and then cleaningdf.dropNA.shape. And we can see here that the number of rows that were dropped were a lot from the original to the new shape. And the reason why this works is because dropNA, if we don't specify it, it doesn't happen in place, meaning that this doesn't affect the original data frame that we have. So that's why we're still able to get the original shape by calling cleaningdf. Okay, now we're going to drop the missing values based on a specific column. And so this is exactly the same way, except we're going to add an argument called subset, and we're going to pass in the column name that we want to remove the missing values based on. And so we're going to say unemployment rate for the column, and then we're going to run that. And then again, this doesn't really tell us anything, so I'm going to have these two print statements pasted over here, and then I'm going to use this subset argument or parameter and then put it inside here. So now we can see that 5 rows were removed from the original shape to the new shape. All right, now we're going to talk about fillNA, which is replacing these missing values. So to do this, we can say cleaningdf.fillNA, and then we pass in the columns that we want to fill the values in for. So in this case, I want to fill the missing values in the unemployment rate column. So I'm going to say unemployment rate and then say 0. And I'm also going to say in place is equal to true. So this line of code is going to replace all the missing values in the unemployment rate column with 0. And because we specified in place equals true, it's automatically going to update our cleaningdf variable. So I'm going to display the results by saying cleaningdf.lock, and then I'm going to pass in the values or the row labels that we specified earlier over here. And so I'm going to come back down and then run this, and we can see here now that previously these row labels had the missing values in the unemployment rate column, but now they've been all replaced with 0. All right, now we're going to learn how to clean text values. And so I'm going to create, like we did before, another copy by saying df.copy, and then I'm going to introduce some messy text values into the data frame just for demonstration purposes. And now we're going to take a look at what the cleaning data frame looks like for the rows 0, 1, 2, and 3. And we're also going to specify the specific columns. And in this case, I just want 3 columns: state, year, and location. And this is just to get a feeling of what it looks like. We can see that all these rows have a location of south, but they're formatted differently. We can inspect the unique values in the data frame by saying cleaningdf, and then we pass in the location, and then we say .unique. And here it returns an array of all the unique values. So you can remove any extra spaces by saying cleaningdf, and then we set that, or we specify the column name first, and we set that equal to cleaningdf, and then we specify the column name, and then we say .str.strip. Okay, now when I take a look at the unique values by saying cleaningdf location.unique, now we have these 3 south values to deal with, and it's nice because all of the extra spaces have been removed. It's just a matter of converting the text all to the same format. And so we're going to say cleaningdf location.str.lower. And so now if we take a look at the unique values, we can see that all of different south values that have been formatted differently are now treated as one value. Last but not least, let's talk about converting data types. Let's take a look at what the data type for the year looks like. So we're going to say cleaningdf year and then d type. This tells us that our year column is an integer. However, we want to convert this from an integer to a date. And to do that, I'm going to say cleaning df year is equal to, and we'll say pd.toDate time. That's a really important method to know. And then we pass in the year column as well as specifying the format and saying that all of these values in our year column are 4-digit year values. And so this is just like a format code for a date. If you run that and then we take a look at what it looks like, we can see that it's formatted nicely into an actual date, as we can see by this month and day. And if we want to double check, we can say cleaning df year and then .dtype. Okay, that's all I got for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I didn't cover this cleaning column name section, so if you're interested in that, then download the code in the description below, and it's going to contain all the code for that section. Also going to contain the parts that I skipped, like the converting year to a string and the converting year back to an integer parts. So next lesson is going to be on another important concept called group by. So if you see that, then it's going to be on the right hand side of the screen somewhere, and the previous lesson is going to be on the left hand side. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in one of those videos.